Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Season 3 of Nikita on CW. So I just finished Season 3 last night, or the other day, actually, and damn. I've done my reviews for Season 1 and Season 2, which are both very good seasons, but I'll be honest, Season 3 is now probably my favorite. It's just getting better and better. I read some stuff saying that a lot of people seem to think that Season 3 is the weakest for some reason, but to me it was pretty damn consistent, as, if not more consistent than the show has ever been. There are some great, story points, there's some great character development, and where it went in the final few episodes and the finale I thought was just incredible and really lived up to how good Nikita finales usually are. So I really do not see why people were saying Season 3 is the weakest. To me, it's been the strongest so far, but all of them have been very good. Here's the Blu-ray. I have it right here. It looks very nice on Blu-ray, by the way. Of course, this season was different. It was different, I'll say that. Because, of course, with Percy's death at the end of Season 2, we knew, or I knew, that was obviously going to feel very different going forward, without our, primary antagonists for the last two seasons. And I was a little bit worried that with Percy gone, an antagonist figure won't really live up to him. But luckily, we still had Amanda, and, Psyche and the relationship between her and Nikita was especially strong this season. They continued to build on that. And, I was also just worried, in general, that there wouldn't be another situation or threat that, Team Nikita would face that would be as interesting or fun or intense all at the same time as Percy was. But we had a great setup for that from the start, I thought. Of course, with the idea that Division was going to be essentially shutting down, they're going to hunt down the Dirty 30, the last few remaining rogue agents from Division that were still, out in the field after Percy's death. They had heard about it, so they were probably, on the run doing whatever. Obviously dangerous to be out there in the public as well. And so the deal that Ryan Fletcher made with the government was to do that, and Division would shut its doors. But as we find out, pretty early on in the season, that there's plan that the government has with Division one way or the other, and that is if they fail or if they expose themselves too much, to kind of get too many people asking questions in the public and stuff, then they're planning sending a SEAL team into the Division HQ and just putting down everyone. So there's that threat looming, and we know that was probably going to happen at some point. And also, again, we just had more of the aftermath of what happened to Percy and stuff like that. And also, I should mention, in the first episode, we see, Michael propose to Nikita, which is, pretty touching and cute moment early on, I thought. And a definite contrast to where the relationship ended up at the end of the season. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. So I just thought the season was really strong all the way through, and I liked, that setup of, them kind of working for the government. Not really, but I really liked the setup of just that potential threat that it all could come crashing down, and it could become more of a, not global, but more of a big thing that just gets put out there and has to be dealt with. I'm not explaining it the right way. So I like that setup, and with that setup, it definitely allowed for some standalone episodes. The early part of the season did have a bit more of a concentration on standalone stuff or one-shot episodes than, some of the previous seasons, maybe. And that was, again, in part because of that premise of, the Dirty 30. But normally that'd be a complaint of mine because, I usually do not really like Case of the Week or more procedural stuff like that. But even with that, Nikita just delivers, man. this season definitely had some of the absolute strongest, like one shot, not necessarily one shot episodes, but issues are settled in that episode while there's a larger story arc looming over it. It had some of those stronger episodes as far as that goes, I thought too. Like one I want to mention, I think it was episode 13. It was called Reunion, and let's see. Yeah, I just wrote this huge paragraph on Facebook about it. But we had the Krieg character. He was played by Andrew Divoff, and that also managed to tie into a portion of the main story too, because it was Ari's son. We also got a lot of development with Ari this season, which I thought was pretty interesting. And Krieg was essentially Ari's son's bodyguard, but the best thing about it was I got to see a little bit of the bond and how much Krieg actually cares about the boy, not just being a job for him. So I really liked that episode. There are other things I liked about that episode too. And then we got a really strong mid-season type of episode with episode 7, Intersection. And that one, of course, is when Nikita was basically forced to chop off Michael's hand in order to save his life. And, that definitely changed things for the show forever, I thought. Just the ramifications of that. Of course, the toll that would take on Michael in the process, the trauma he'd have to go through after that. And, just with his pride and, everything that, kind of surrounds that. And I could go on. Again, my original point was that it had some of the stronger case of the week, type of stuff, and it did. But, I could just go on and on about, that stuff, but I just think some of the Dirty 30 episodes, they managed to pull off. Yes, it's case of the week, but at the same time, they worked it so it still tied into the main plot that this is what Nikita and the rest of them have to do in order to, be free. So I thought it worked in that sense. And also, before I forget, it was cool seeing Sarah Allen in a role this season as one of Amanda's people. Sarah Allen, and a lot of you guys probably don't know who she is. You should, though. But I particularly remember her as Rebecca on Being Human Season 1 in particular. It was really cool to see her in this, and to see her fights with Nikita, I thought was pretty awesome. Of course, Nikita puts her down, but it's Nikita, so, she's got to win. Let's see what else. There's obviously main stuff I want to talk about towards the end of the season, but I'm trying to remember if there's anything in between that I really wanted to talk about. Before I forget, I wanted to talk more about Ari's development. I talked about his son and the bodyguard Krieg and stuff. But Ari's development, I thought he really not changed, but we got to see more to him. I thought it worked pretty well. Of course, him and Amanda were off on their own together for a while. They sort of had a relationship of sorts. But it just got too far for Ari, and Ari actually ran off, and Amanda was after him after that point, and Ari could only turn to Division. Nikita, sort of trying to work, to sort of not work for him, but sort of as like a fail-safe. Not really a fail-safe, but like his last resort, but he knew they're the only ones that could have helped him. And I also liked the interrogation scene. I think it was in episode 12 with Fire, where Nikita, basically just almost beat his face into a pulp. I was just talking about how much I liked Ari this season, but one of my favorite scenes was him getting beaten down. But I just thought that was pretty brutal, and I always like seeing that darker, more violent side to Nikita too. So I really like that. And of course, Ari ends up being eventually shot down by Amanda, but he also does help Nikita and the rest of them in the process throughout that as well. So I thought Ari was really good this season. They always had a really good actor for him too. And let's see. I also want to emphasize Birkhoff this season as well. He's just become such a damn likable character, man. Since season 1, I was kind of entertained by him, and just the way he developed at the end of that and where he is now. He and Michael are my two favorite characters on the show, besides Nikita herself. Of course, Nikita's number 1. But as far as my second favorite character on the show, it's definitely between Michael and Birkhoff. I just think Aaron Stanford does such a great job pulling off the comic relief side, but also he has a heart, and you can really feel for him in the more serious dramatic points too. So I thought he continued to do really well, and he really stepped up in certain moments as well. Like even physically and in other ways besides, hacking, which he still, of course, is the best at. As far as the best episodes of the season, like I said, I enjoy them all to a certain extent. Some of the best ones were the ones I already mentioned, but also I want to emphasize episode 18, which is called Broken Home. This episode is just great, and just really finally getting our backstory on Amanda, seeing what really made her tick in the beginning. The twisted story about her father experimenting on who he thought was her sister, to sort of test PTSD and things like that. I thought it was really twisted, dark, and then of course we have Nikita sort of living that out when Amanda has her in the chair, and then we find out the person who was being experimented on was Amanda herself, and Amanda wasn't the one trying to save her sister, it was Amanda was the one that was being put through all that. And so you get a little bit of that. But what also made this episode was that threat surrounding Division again, which I talked about. And with the mutiny, the mutiny in Division, once people sort of found out what was going on with the whole government setup with the president, a lot of them just wanted to book it and run. They didn't want to have any part of it anymore. And Alex, she was experimented on by Amanda as well. She sort of had her mind altered to focus on one objective, but she was one sort of leading this mutiny, at least for the majority of it. And once things like that start come crashing down, we see Birkhoff. He steps up quite a bit. He's the one that actually sort of turns the tables on him in that whole scenario, and I thought that was really cool. He steps up physically, shoots down a couple of the guys. I just thought it was really awesome. He makes sure Sonia's safe. I also really liked seeing more about Sonia and Birkhoff this season as well. I think they make a really cute couple. It's good to see Birkhoff have someone like that. And this episode also stands out. Also, Birkhoff had a great speech at the end of it too, telling him to just leave. He was bloodied in the face, and I don't know, Birkhoff's just an awesome character, man. Then this episode also stands out because we had a pretty major character death with Sean Pierce. And looking back at it now, I guess it's not the biggest shock that they would kill him off. But at the same time, part of me was also kind of expecting him to survive and sort of be like that final love interest that Alex would have, with Nikita being with Michael. I thought it would kind of be set up like that. But Sean Pierce is killed off by Bullet as, he's trying to, help Alex as well with the whole thing that is going on there with the mutiny. And, I was pretty surprised by that. And, Alex is a character, I don't love, I've been annoyed and frustrated with her before. But I'll say I did feel for her a little bit more this season with the Sean death in particular. I thought they handled that pretty well. And then because of that, we also got an interesting scene with Alex and Owen, or Sam later on. Sam, or Owen's also someone I wanted to emphasize this season as well. I've always liked Owen, but he also could be a little bit frustrating at times, and he kind of was this season, but I found it pretty interesting the moment him and Alex had together, talking about, Alex sort of trying to poke at the Owen part of him, aside from that, Nikita and the others would like him to believe he is now. But of course, Amanda putting in his head that he's a Sam character who killed all his friends and is involved with these drugs, and has a deal going around, basically. And we still don't know if that's the whole truth or if it's the truth at all. But I thought the way Owen and Alex connected, I thought was actually pretty interesting. And Owen, or I'm just going to keep referring to him as Owen for now anyway. It seems like he's adapting more of the Sam name, but it was kind of going back and forth in season 3, so I'll still call him Owen. Owen became more of a wild card as the season went along, sort of making deals with Amanda, but at the same time sort of being in it for himself, and he actually ends up helping out Nikita and the others towards the end. He ends up destroying the black box, which I thought was a pretty cool moment for him. And also the finale, the final couple episodes, it was just incredible, man. with the whole setup of Nikita being captured by Amanda and basically being forced into an impossible scenario, either assassinate the president or, Michael, I forgot to mention the other part with Michael, he ends up being an artificial hand through the shady organization known as the Shop and the weird doctors and scientists involved with that. That was all pretty twisted too, but the whole setup for the finale, with Nikita being forced into a situation where she has to assassinate the president, or Michael will be killed because something was put into his blood, which we've seen has pretty violent results when it's triggered. We've seen that in certain people, the blood would come gushing out of their mouths, and I think it was their eyes too, I can't remember. So Nikita had to do that. It was a really different dynamic to see her sort of breaking off from the group and acting on her own, and the group almost coming after her in a way. Not to kill her, but they're still trying to stop her. And Nikita gets there. She gets the gun from, of course, one of the paid-off bodyguards, basically. It was one of the people involved with the guy Amanda's now working with, who was involved with the Shop and stuff. And sorry if the Shop was the incorrect name of the people who gave Michael his hand and stuff, but, it's connected. I thought that was really intense, and of course the president actually being corrupted too and shooting herself, framing Nikita for all of it, basically setting Nikita on a huge angle for the final season, with Nikita being on the run, the whole country being after her. I saw that was a really intense setup, and it was all done really well with the emotions of the group, and the group wanted to deal with it with her, to help her, even though it would put all of them at risk, and her leaving the ring behind at the end and going off on her own to set up season 4. It's really sad. You really felt for everyone on that end, I thought. It's just an amazing setup. There's so much more I could say about those final couple episodes too, and again, the Amanda and Nikita dynamic. When Amanda first made Nikita realize what she was pushing her into do with the thing she had inside Michael, just her getting into Nikita's head saying, "You're what I made you. You think you're a hero. You're the perfect killer." And just the acting with Maggie Q and Melinda Clark, it's just really great chemistry together. They both do a really good job. But yeah, just and I watched the first episode of season 4 of the final season last night, and it's off to an awesome start with Nikita being in the woods and being on the run, and the FBI coming after her and stuff. It's just really cool so far. So yeah, I'm sure there's plenty more I could talk about from season 3. And if there's anything in particular you wanted to hear about, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to talk about it more with you guys. But yeah, season 3 is just incredible all around. The story building on the show does not get enough credit. The characters continue to be developed really well. It's just severely underrated on so many levels, I think. But yeah, the show is great. Season 3 is probably my favorite so far. And my review of the final season, season 4, probably won't be too long from now, probably within the next week or so, I'd say. But yeah, it's off to a great start, and I'm sad to see the series end soon, but at the same time, I know they're going to do it justice. I'm looking forward to seeing how they wrap it up. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. Season 3, really great season, my personal favorite so far. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You can catch me on Facebook, Twitter, and lookforinsploda.com. And I'll catch you for my review of The 100 tonight. Peace.